Okay, are we recording again? I think we are. Hello, we're back to Halo 4. It's been like a day or so. That's given me time to just kind of recover from what this thing has inflicted on us so far, and it's time to, just run into more thoughts as I go about my day, and just more things to talk about have piled up in my head. Not that I was running dry, as always, I just let the game prompt me, but, I wasn't sure about it today. I could have been lazy, and if I still wanted to give you a video, I could have just shown you one of my very, very powerful games of Deadlock. I'm sure you would have loved that. Show off my high kill count, but no, I've actually been talking about some stuff today. Games came up on Tuna's Bay Club, of all places. It's actually alright over there sometimes. Tuna's Bay Club, if you don't know it. I post there, just as Anthony. Anyway, what came up was something related to strategy games and how things look and what's fun about them. And, as I said I thought I would be, I was also prompted to play Myth over the last couple of days, and yeah, my head is just full of thoughts and ideas on what games are like and what I like about them. Gee, that thing's loud. Well, anyway, I edit in post now, so it's not a disaster. Cortana's trying to make me feel engrossed in this plot, but I just don't feel it. I swear, the armor gets worse every time I look at it. I get that that's a sheath, but look how, rubbery and stupid the knife looks attached to that guy's armor. And look at his dork goggles. I'm not listening to his dialogue, but I bet it's terrible as well. And look at the way his eyes are set into his head, the way his eyes are set in his head, they look so much like a distinct object. Ugh, I don't like that about new games. Just everything about this is wrong. The undersuit, the weird, rubber hose knife attached to him. The texture of this. Anyway, someone left a comment that I found very interesting. I disagree with them, but I could tell where they were coming from. I answered them, but would like to elaborate further. What this guy said was, he said that he didn't like the Halo Combat Evolved Marines, considered them the worst, and thinks that Reach evolved to a really excellent place that, of course, these guys are a regression away from. Someone tell me what the hell that is. This looks like a joke. This looks like a Concord character. Or one of those shitty cancelled person shooters. This is almost more like a Lawbreakers character. This, red stripe detail, and the way this guy's, lips rendered wrong. At least I hope they did.
This is a pretty sweet union we're in.
What the fuck, man?
Fantastic. Stand near the crates, but don't ever move them. Right.
Yeah, someone has to die for that line being in the game. I don't give a fuck. You guys can kill me. I'm angry. I had to take out some of my feelings on 343 there. Genuinely, I was enraged when I heard them have a little, fourth wall breaking quip about, oh, we just stand near the crates. The Union is being good to us. Yeah, how about I fucking kill you? Okay, so what we can say about these guys, what I was going to when they started that. I looked at the back to figure out what was going on, and yeah, they are meant to be a different class of guy. These are the medics, apparently, just... Yeah, but nobody actually gets medicked in this game, do they? So they're just idiots in, candy stripe red and white armor. And that's just one of many thoughts I have. If this were a Myth game, they would actually be medics, and, over the course of the fight, as we're taking attrition, there could be, that'd be an interesting dynamic if, we actually had medics, and we had to try to keep them alive, and they kept everyone else alive, and I was actually thinking of Marines as a resource and trying to preserve them, but that's the whole Myth talk again, like the last level. The more particular talk in relation to armor was what this guy was saying, that he liked the Reach troopers because they looked the most kind of soldierly, was the impression I got, just a good, future army trooper design, and That is true, and I don't mind how they look. These Spartan 4s look better, but the gun is just inherently weird and not great. These guys are basically ODSTs with weirder proportions and visor colors and stuff. Anyway, yes, the Trooper is in Reach. Halo Reach is a good future army man. And yes, as far as future army men go, he makes a lot more sense than the CE guy with his big blocky armor with like its big solid colors and plates that just hang off him made out of that strange brown metal that some people take for rust. I just think it's how metal looks in Halo CE and I like it. It's got a nice... The impression of texture that I get from it is what I like about it, as opposed to the textures on the armor. I have to specify, I wanted to say, I like the texture of the CE armor. I was going to say, it's nice that the game gave me a moment to breathe and just admire all of this stuff I can point out while talking about the game, but Cortana won't shut up. Obviously they don't actually appreciate that value very much. And this just has to be so dense with people talking, I can't just like to be in this room. It has to be like, oh, there's a piece of content if you go to that corner. Shut up. Anyway, yes, what I like about the Halo CE Marine is that he's a distinctly, like, not a future soldier. He is a video game character. And that ties into a lot of thoughts I have about graphics and aesthetics in video games, that I believe that video game, even though, like, yes, we could only realize reality so well up to a certain point of technology, it became understood that in video games things look a certain way. I just can't believe how they look in this game. Things look a certain way, which is based on, you know, a need to only have so many complex shapes and a need to make sense of something in action, and also a sense that video games as a kind of, like, form are their kind of own world. The idea of, like, video game logic and, like, a generic video game world people could go to in a cartoon or whatever was very much a thing. This idea of video games as this, like, abstract kind of, like, clean, not so high fidelity, like, certain stylized details world. I'm only making a very general point here. The Marine works well as, like, a kind of abstract idea of a soldier who fits very well the Halo CE design into a world of slightly formalized designs where things are very, like, made of primary shapes and colors and made for very, like, simple, strong, elemental interactions with each other. The Marine looks very, like, solid, you know exactly what he is, his design is very simple. Whereas if you look at the Reach Trooper, everything about him is approaching a kind of simulation of reality, like, his silhouette is all broken up by all the pouches and stuff that are hanging off him, which make perfect sense if you're designing a soldier, that he's got all the stuff he will practically need to do his job, as opposed to CE Man, who just is wearing like a jumpsuit, a mechanic's jumpsuit with armor plates sewn on top or something. But yes, the CE Man is very much like a simple kind of like Platonic video game image of a soldier, and everything he does is on that level of like basic, elemental, simple. Like, look at the way he like does his bouncy run in Halo Combat Evolved, the dive animation, how it's very like his feet are planted and he like dives in a fixed arc in a very like bloopy, abstract way. Everything about the way he looks, moves, and handles creates this sense of like, okay, he's a video game entity. He's going to like behave in a certain like formally defined way rather than being like, you know, even though he kind of was at the same time, the Halo CE Marine wasn't an approximation of reality. He was like a deliberate fulfillment of a limited form. Limited, yes, out of necessity, but still form remains, and Reach is working towards reality, and this is, again, working towards reality, but just with a giant aesthetic misstep for no discernible reason. And where I was going is that, yes, the incidental or accidental, however you want to put it, formal standards of the past I quite like at various points. I made that tweet recently about liking how things looked around 2000, which I think people took the wrong way. They thought like, oh yeah, I loved it when there were beaches in the 2000. No, my point was more that like, this was just considered like an aesthetic, a style, like a movement we went through, and those used to be good rather than bad was the idea I had. And where I'm going broadly is that I think generic video game man as like a form, like this kind of like basic elemental depiction of things as we expect them to behave and be, I think is very healthy for video games, not just for how they look in that like, okay, we aren't breaking the bank doing like ridiculous Unreal Engine photorealism, but the thing I think is very neglected is how mechanically that works well with the simplified world of a video game. Like, it gets sillier and sillier as we move in rigid, game-defined, formal ways with increasingly real-looking people. The photorealistic or approaching, like, real high-fidelity Reach Trooper doing, like, video gamey motions doesn't look as good or correct to me as CE Man doing that. And they kind of try to correct that by giving him these more, like, the Reach Trooper has more, like, muddled animations, like, the way he rolls is a bit... he rolls and dives is a bit rougher to give an impression of a man moving rather than a video game character doing his video game man reaction to a thing that happened in the game. And yeah, you can say that's cooler for the thing it is, like Halo Reach is kind of a war movie game set within Halo, which is neat, but old Halo was much more of a game world in this abstract, platonic, formal, whatever we want to call it, way that I appreciate. And yeah, now that we're many years past the dawn of like going back to old forms for whatever reason, mostly just idiotic cargo culting by hacks who can't do better, indie pixel shit, now we have the gender-challenged PSX graphics movement, which is a step in the right direction in some ways. I wrote a lot about this on the new forum thread, if you're there. In response to the game, we've got a guy making a game there in this way who I think is actually like one of the few people doing it sanely and not really trying to like cargo cult or like steal prestige from a junk movement. The video game we're looking at is SSR Wives. Kind of an odd title, but if you look at the graphical standard they landed on, I asked the guy about it and he said like, oh, I wasn't trying to do like a PS1 or a PS2 or a Nintendo 64 style, it was more like what we could do and what I thought I could make look acceptable. I really like how characters came out looking in that guy's game. They're very like platonic video game character forms to me, where they're like simple 3D people with like enough texture to their person that I can tell very much what they're meant to be, and they can express, emote, and do things, but there's that level of like abstraction that feels formal rather than limited. It's the whole idea I want to get at just in this talk while we're in this hangar is that old video game graphics just, I think that we accidentally a few times landed on something that would be quite acceptable, at least to me, as like a standard form of, you know, able to express whatever it needs to, very readable in a very primary way, which lends itself very well to what video games generally depict. And yeah, games like this are made in like an awkward in-between space, and really I shouldn't even say in-between because we never really made it to the other side of this trend. The trend of graphics has just been to become a kind of, how should I put this, just increasingly photorealistic veneer on top of things which still run on formal logic, formal patterns of design. You're still doing like platonic video game form stuff. You're jumping around, firing a gun in an absurd way, or jumping around on top of things like I am here, only now you have 500,000 polygons in your eyelashes. It's getting a bit silly. The other thought I had was, I was reminded of Dawn of War. That was the game that was being discussed on Tuna's Bay Club. Dawn of War 1 in particular, I think, is a brilliant example of formal graphics. I might even make a video of it on this channel just so I can look closely at it and show off what I appreciate about it to you. People love that game and not its sequels for a very particular reason, which I think is that they enjoy this kind of like formal abstracted design, which makes people feel very three-dimensional, very physical. It's like watching little figurines is the appeal. I went and looked on the Steam community page for a screenshot because I didn't have any on hand, and I knew what I'd find there. I would find close-ups of Imperial Guardsmen in action because that's why people play the game. They want to paint their little miniature figure men and put them in action scenarios and take close-ups and screenshots of them. And specifically, I think that the primitive graphics of the game are actually almost a draw rather than a kind of limitation people accept. I'm sure if you made a new one with much fancier models with more polygons, it would still, if you made it on the same game logic as the original, it would do quite well, but I think if you just scaled up the action and made it more elaborate while keeping the same models, you would probably have something that worked much better, is where I'm getting at. And I think as well, like for Halo, it doesn't necessarily need to become more visually complex. All of this potential to do more, it's largely a solution looking for a problem. Like, yeah, we have more power than the original Xbox to make Halo 4, and what does it amount to? It amounts to this ridiculous-looking gun covered in Overwatch plastic detail, this guy's ridiculous flesh-textured inner thighs, and stupid goggles and chin strap. God, unbelievable. Alright, I might leave it there for talking about things I've been doing on the internet recently, but that's been on my mind very much. Oh yeah, I just remembered, last thing we were going to talk about in here, because I've missed two things, one of them we can cover now. One is, I missed in the last video the sniper rifle. I found one and didn't give it the obligatory, like, look over and demo shot so you could listen. I did use it so you could see it, but it just completely slipped my mind that I was even holding it. There's none in here, this is just a DMR. What an ugly fucking gun. Jesus. We're getting the Overwatch assault rifle back. Anyway, what was I saying? Or maybe I should take this. Why not? We'll cycle through the guns again. This hasn't been out in a while. Yeah, so we didn't look at the sniper. The other thing I took for granted and didn't talk about because they're so fucking, like, fast and flighty in how they show up. The new Pelicans! First off, as I just kind of alluded to, their game integration is different. They're very much like a present detail in Halo CE. They come in and they like hover right over you and they do dynamic things. They pick up all the Marines you saved from a section or drop off more for you. I think that's very obviously a holdover from when this game was, conceptually from when this game was a successor to Myth. The idea like of one of these showing up mid-level to drop off another team of guys, or at the end of a level to physically pick up everyone who's left, I think would have been extremely cool. And the fact that does happen, I think, is why the second level in the original Halo was always my favorite as a kid. I loved taking it upon myself as a challenge to try to deliver a full thing of Marines to one of these. I thought that was awesome. Really, like, as I'm always saying, like, that's what I'd design a whole future game of Halo around. It'd be like Myth. And I have been playing Myth and greatly enjoying that, the way that I've been playing the official expansion for Myth 2, Chimera. Something they do that I love is that when you make it to the end of a level and there's like a story sequence, all your surviving soldiers have like fixed spots to go to while the protagonists talk, and I just think, that's awesome. Like, the game is acknowledging how many guys I have left in that very neat way that fits into the real events. But anyway, aesthetically, let's talk about, rather than mechanically, what have they done to this thing? Well, it's got this kind of like hind D front section now with the two pilots in there, and the quality of the glass and so on looks kind of like halfway between like Ghost in the Shell futurism and like a retro hind D. In general, the Pelican just looks kind of fatter and dumber. Like, rather than being faster looking, even though it's got like big powerful looking engines now, it just looks like a lumbering bottom heavy machine to me. And instead of that classic Halo metal texture, the kind of like brown gray, which again some people took to look like rusty and disheveled, I think it's a very good like abstract depiction of the quality of metal, how metal strikes a person. I don't know, it just always looked correct to me in a way that this, like, hard, shiny green metal doesn't. Also, look at their Obama redesigned logo, UNSC, and we have this star in here now, and just... yeah, this is the UNSC rebooted by hipsters as an app. Yeah, this is the UNSC if you put the cheap Lambrusco wine guy in charge. I have to keep reminding you of him because that's when this game was made. We have to go back to, like, when that was American culture. Rejected at the ballot box twice now, thankfully, but yeah, not before they got their hands on Halo and did this to it. Just look at this thing. Do you like it? These, like, giant prongs that flip out from the bottom, they just don't look good. I mean, I get that the idea is, like, you can drive a warthog into it, but no, I like the very practical for the game idea of, like, no, it's just got these magic magnet pads in the back and a warthog just snaps onto there because fuck you. And you know what? A guy can hang off the fucking gun while this thing flies. That's awesome. That's a great abstract video game detail. I'm able to accept it when everything runs at that, like, not quite there level of logic. The more realistic you make things, the less that flies, which is of course why they then had to do this, which is just less fun. But you know, it would have been fun if they actually did this, but that's the thing. At no point in this game have I seen one of these actually land, open its hatch, and let the warthog roll out. If I saw that, I would be okay with the change. But they redesigned it in a way that doesn't even work for the game. It's just very, very disappointing, as everything else in this is. Is there anything else to discuss in this hangar? I suppose the hangar itself? Does it look more fun than the hangar in the opening sequence of Halo Combat Evolved? No. I hate the, like, shiny metal colors of absolutely everything. It's just very, like, drab, gray, hard lights on metal surfaces. J.J. Abrams. I hate it. What are you guys doing? Pushing buttons? That's super.
Can I help you, Chief?
No, you can't. Oh. Rare new suit of armor. What are you? You're the...
What you need, Chief? Ask me anything.
If I could ask you things, I'd ask you why you get to wear black and blue. This looks better than a lot of the others, even though he's still got the dumb proportions and stuff.
Hero back on Earth. My kid's got a poster of you in his room.
Okay, so if that thing flips down into a visor, is this guy a pilot? Maybe? I don't know, but I'm thinking these colors work better with the design of, like, he's basically wearing the same thing as this guy, but you basically can't see a lot of the uglier details if it's black and blue. So yeah, sorry man, you got ripped. You got the, like, flesh thighs, white body, rubber knife. This guy's just having a terrible time. This guy is almost acceptable. He still looks worse than every prior Halo game, of course. Now, I'm going to leave this hangar alone now and see what's here. Railgun. Okay, they're giving me all kinds of stuff. This might be more fun, actually. And over here, just a bit of everything. Whatever. Okay, let's see what this amounts to. Okay, I get in the front. Oh, I can look at the inside of this as well.
Infinity's going to leave Requiem any minute. We've got to go.
Alright. Fly the Pelican.
Pre-flight diagnostics. Forward autocannon, check. Lateral rail turrets, check. Main thrusters, check. Auxiliary boosters, check. Alright. Keying engine. It may be a while before we find another ride home. You know that, right?
It'll be okay.
Okay, I pull the trigger and fire it forward, but that's just not very exciting.
Contact. Didact dead ahead.
How do we get inside those shields?
Marking 2 of the larger facilities on your HUD.
Yeah, this thing handles like a
Acting as
bus.
traffic control for resources moving to and from the satellite. If we disrupt their communications, I can forge an override code and convince it to lower those defenses.
Okay, this is kind of a Halo classic, the level where you get to, like, where they just set objectives in some far-off place and you have to make your own way there and kind of, you know, you decide how this is meant to be done. That's cool, just, like, the lack of dynamic factors here, the fact they're just, like, floating platforms in nothingness, basically, and... Right, how do I fire my other weapons? I'm sure I'm just going to, like, jump out of this thing if I try the buttons. Oh no, there we go. Okay, this is a Spartan laser from 3. So they knew it existed just to be like catty bitches, they couldn't put it into regular ground use. Yeah, just, there isn't a lot of dynamic factors, aren't a lot of dynamic factors for me to play with here, so I'm not like super excited to be in this thing. How do I go down? Do I just have to... Oh no, it's that button. Alright, and how do I get out? But yeah, it's basically just like blow up those things that are like not fighting because this thing is so strong. Oh yep, and we just go into like a fake landing mode apparently when we get close. It just doesn't feel very dynamic. It feels like that might as well have almost been a cutscene. Like it was me manipulating it, but it's very simple, like just rock up, kill it, and then you're just, congratulations, enter your next series of grey hallways. But what I will give them credit for, what I said should have been happening in the elephant level is happening here. I have a consistent arsenal that I'm taking with me over the course of these. That is fantastic. Just, yeah. Why is it limited to like 4 guns? It should be like, okay, you have your crew of like 8 Marines you're taking to each site who you want to try to keep alive, and yeah, just more stuff like that. Just more kinds of consequential details like that would be fantastic. Like, I was watching, it came up on YouTube, special features for Halo 3 ODST came up on my YouTube feed, and I watched those, and they talked about how the ODST has a health bar again for the first time since... Oh my god, shut the fuck up, Cortana! This game genuinely gets me so exasperated, I fucking hate it. Oh, I was saying... Yes, they mentioned that the ODST having a health bar under his, like, regenerating battle health was... Oh, we can... Shut up, Cortana. I was saying that yes, the ODST having to use health packs to fully get his life back was considered like lasting consequences between battles. Like, yes, Bungie still understand the principle like right to the end. And
I'm going to tune your shields to emit an EMP at the same frequency as the communication network.
Old playbook, yeah.
All you'll need to do to trigger it is to make physical contact with the carrier wave generator.
Just lasting consequences are cool, and I wish that they were here in a much more severe way, using more parts of the game. And I was playing Myth 2 before, a couple of levels like pissed me off because I was just playing them awkwardly and getting like wiped out in very awkward ways over and over again, but still, I do want to go back and keep playing Myth. It's just dynamic and interesting in a way that not many games are, and yeah, I have no real desire to go back to play most games, but Myth consistently brings me back. It is just very, like, high stakes, very interesting. It's just something most games won't even bother trying to give you. They don't get it.
Stopping. They've overridden the gondola control.
This level just feels like it never stops talking. Sorry about that.
Cortana, the override.
Here.
Okay, this thing is a sniper rifle. How do we like it? That way it, like, spins the bit I just loaded when I put it in. That feels atrocious. It's, again, it's very Overwatch, like the idea of, like, yeah, we want to make it very physical, but we also don't want it to feel remotely like a gun because we're the cheap Lambrusca wine guy. Oh my god. Sorry if I just got, like, angry at the game there, too angry to make sense. But that's genuinely how this thing makes me feel. the thought I was going to get out there is, at least we're not fighting the goddamn Promethean Knights for a minute, because I genuinely hate those stupid bastards. They are anti-fun. They're just ugly and stupid, and it doesn't feel good to kill robots. But, you know, these little idiots, I like shooting at them, even in their, like, ruined Halo 4 forms. There's something at least a little bit acceptable about this. The fact I'm using this gun undermines it pretty seriously, but we're getting there. Okay, let's get this crap over with.
Here.
Oh, that's a dead one. Now, how long is this level going to be, I wonder? I've done my big talk now, so I should feel okay with just driving forward. I'll try to revolve my thoughts around the game for the minute. I think I've burned my starting supply of things I could talk to you about. We did all of that in the hangar. So nothing else is on my mind for the minute, aside from getting through this crappy game. Jesus, I thought Myth was frustrating because I could die. The aesthetic frustration I feel playing Halo 4 is much worse, actually. Just, this thing is so stupid that it makes me angry. Alright. Hey, if there are only Covenant in here, and they aren't using them, why am I surrounded by Promethean Knight weapons? They really just wanted to have their own contribution to Halo, didn't they? You will live in the pod, you will use the shitty Promethean thing. Did that thing just bounce off him? Did they make plasma grenades stop sticking in this game? I could see them being petty enough to do that. That movement is what I meant by, like, trying to, like, tune up and deformalize the way that game characters move to kind of fit a new level of detail. Do you get what I mean when I say, like, that would have looked wrong in Halo CE, the way he, like, dodged the grenade? And what are you supposed to be? You look like a goddamn xenomorph with that dumb big head. This armor just looks like crap. And again, like, pointless glowing details. They love it. Let's add another storm rifle, and they love shoving their own crap original OCs down my throat.
Okay, the lockout has been released, but
Oh, for fuck's sake. And again, a very, like, weak, limp-wristed heat reaction. I don't feel like I'm firing a gun so hard it's almost going to kill me. I feel like the Master Chief is just being a bit of a girl about this. Ooh, my hand, that's hot. Just like, when a gun overheats, it should feel like the thing is about to fucking explode or catch fire. Like, my understanding was that they, like, basically were burning. Like, the plasma is, like, just, like, out of control. Like, there is a fire of plasma, like, happening within the gun is what's happening in the old games. It just looked very cool. Like, there's just, like, flaring in the machinery. Like, oh shit, we went too hot. Whereas here, it's just, like, generic video game, but sci-fi sparks flying out of the thing. Oh, there's a bridge over there. Yeah, you know what it is. I'm just pissed off at this game. The way those, like, shot down and that one shot up, it's just... what is this? Alright, on we get. Yeah, I was saying about consistency of guns, but it's not really like that, is it? Since I can only carry so much bullet weapon ammo, and this gondola is the real consistent element of the level, not the Pelican I was driving. And what's on the gondola, the thing I've got to use all level? A full arsenal of Promethean Knight weapons, because that's the kinds of people 343 are. Is this whole level just going to be me having to do that twice, and then next place I drive the Pelican to, I'll have to do this again 2 more times? I bet it will be. There you go. Yeah, that teleport is very fucking stupid. And these grenades suck, and I didn't look closely at them. This looks like a Diablo power-up or something. What the hell is this? Yeah, I've never played Diablo, by the way. Just, it looks like it belongs in that kind of butt sci-fi, like butt fantasy, sorry. It's the kind of thing that looks like it belongs on the side of an old graphics card box. Those like weird stock fantasy designs they were enamored with. Kind of an example of like stock video game forms, like the shit that was on a graphics card box. That was what the designers thought when you said like, draw a video game thing but not licensed, and they would draw the most horrific shit ever. Maybe that's a mark against the concept, but I just blame American sensibilities there. If you tell a Japanese person, draw a generic video game thing that's not like a licensed thing, he will make something amazing. Just every time, and the American will draw like goblins and weird bimbo AGP core whores in bikini armor. Because they're weirdos, they're sick people. We've been over this, folks. If your spiritual foundations are demented, things you make will be as well. No matter how good the ideas you're trying to follow are. And what am I trying to kill now? Physics are not playing well with this level. But whatever. Let's try one of these. Yeah, that was good. These new grenades are the shittest thing ever. Just on every level, they look fucking dumb, they don't have a look or sound to them, they are genuinely useless in combat. Maybe they were made with multiplayer design, it's like, ooh, here's my area denial tool. Still sucks. Combat Evolved's grenades are very, like, aesthetically distinct, they're made to, like, look cool in a single-player fight, and they still created more interesting dynamics, I'm sure, than giving players this piece of crap online. Someone thought that looked cool. They got paid. Alright, what am I doing? God, this is shit. Okay, can I just, like, skip everything and run back to that real quick? Where are you going, you prick? Ooh, I made it. Look at me go.
That's the carrier wave generator. Enter the carrier field to trigger the suit's EMP.
Hell yeah, let's leave this part.
Give it a second.
That orange field looked weird. It's another effect that just looked better in a 20-year-old game. That is such, like, Obama villain dialogue. You're just approaching the last guy and he'll say stuff like that and act like he's somehow, like, morally superior to you just because... Not because, like, the idea is that you're meant to, like, measure the moral weight of what a villain is saying, it's just because under Obama, everyone had, like, this giant boner for being talked down to by people who wield unearned tones of authority and moral superiority. That's how Spec Ops: The Line was able to succeed. Not that I consider that really an enraging game, even though it is doing something that I consider repugnant, just like empty moralizing, but with like fake weight to it in an attempt to just like manipulate weak people who aren't used to defending themselves against unjust attacks on their character. That's really a disgusting thing to do, but Spec Ops is the example I don't hate just because it's so ludicrously dumb it becomes funny. And it's kind of the ultimate Obama game in my mind. But anyway, the weirdest like villain talk I remember recently from something I played is AVP 2010. Towards the end of the Marine part, Lance Henriksen talks to you like this, and it's just like, what is this man doing here? He's too good for this, but whatever. And it's just funny because the game is so shallow and stupid and about nothing, but, you know, at the end, still moral... Just because it's an Obama game, Lance Henriksen is just going to, like, throw nonsensical moral recrimination at me, and I'm just meant to think, like, yeah, maybe I am a bad person. you know, authority figures are always talking down to me, so I must have done something wrong. I must need correcting. I need to be a good, meek person and learn to enjoy cheap Lambrusco wine and nothing else. Do you get what I mean when I talk about, like, that really specific villain tendency? It's the more stupid the game, the more, like, ludicrous it gets. I mean stupid in the sense of, like, unambitious, like, a game with no, like, thematic intentions whatsoever, like AVP 2010 felt obliged to do it. That is just insane to me. Like, that's just what gaming was. Like, oh, the game's not complete until, like, some, like, obviously evil and corrupt, unfit to talk to you like this person is, like, treating you like you're morally in the wrong. And yep, the weapons aren't even consistent between visits, they just regenerated a new fucking stock. That's... I should have known they'd do that. But I am genuinely disappointed that they've, like, I thought, like, oh, this level it'll be, like, about managing my weapon stock. No, you get one reload if you're a good boy of a gun that isn't entirely Nerf, and then you go into a facility and you just never see this cache of yours again, and you are just going to be, using Promethean Knight guns. All level, that's the real consistent stockpile. And even then, there's no, like, serious stockpiling, like, I'm not fighting from the gondola and having to, like, keep stock of what I have, it's just, no, you just Promethean Knight weapons everywhere, and you're going to be reloading from dead guys every 5 seconds, because, I don't know, they just didn't want me holding onto any ammo for anything in this game. Everything has, like, 2 reloads. Plasma weapons have, like, 8 seconds of fire in them. Whatever. Banshee sections in the older games had a better sense of weight to them. More stuff going on, like 2 sides, and I didn't have a weapon that could just pick them off without consequence from a gajillion miles away. I'm talking about the level from Halo 2 that probably inspired this, the one where you're the Arbiter. Also in Halo Reach they did this, and I think it was better because you could, like, pick up Marines and stuff, and it was just a much more dynamic scene with a lot more going on. You were moving across, like, skyscraper tops, which I think is fucking awesome. And in this, we're just like, what are these things? I still haven't come to, like, appreciate the... whatever they called this thing. Is it Requiem? The Hollow World? Where could they possibly be going? I still haven't come to appreciate the design of this thing. It has no, like, sense of space or scale or a sense that things are happening. Like, look how much fucking diverse terrain there is down there, and what have we visited? We were in, like, the butt swamp jungle, and then we went up to a building, and that's probably it for being down there. Oh no, we were in, like, a ridgy mountain area for a bit. I want to go to a snow level. Oh well, never mind, this game is shit, we've established that. And, well, it kept track since the last time I opened it. It's not completely abysmal, but yeah, that's where we're at. We get to take 2 guns with us off the Pelican, and then we're going to get another pile of Promethean Knight stuff.
There's a lot more traffic passing through this tower than just what's servicing the Didact satellite.
That's
These
nice.
systems use data attenuators to regulate the flow of communications. Destroying those would drown out the tower's transmission.
Oh, interesting.
The tower's instructions to the Didact shields would be drowned in the noise.
Oh, can you not reload while sprinting? Guess I learned something. Okay, how we doing? Load that. Is this gonna be another gondola? Because I just feel like I don't have the fucking patience for that right now.
Most likely be housed in a Faraday enclosure.
What am I getting shot by?
Controls around here somewhere.
Yeah, this saw just doesn't feel good to fire. It doesn't feel Halo. It doesn't feel like a video game form object in that sense I was describing. It feels very much like, well, what it is. It's a saw with, like, no recoil. It's a modern, like, contemporary warfare weapon put into Halo because these people are idiots.
3 central attenuators. We'll have to sever all 3 connections.
Okay, super. I'm looking forward to it. Where are they? Let's get this shit over with. God, I have to fight all of the annoying little jumpy things. Oh yeah, that's such a, like, dynamic, show-changing thing, and Knight appearing. Like, I fucking care. I mean, on Legendary, I'd have to weigh each part of this fight as it came, but, you know, I imagine it wouldn't be very interesting. These are just, like, one of those, like, broadly unfun things that exist in video game, like... This whole game's design, like, everything about the Promethean Knights is, like, that level. Like, just shit elements of video games that refuse to die for so long that are back for some reason. Like, someone thought, you know what Halo needs? Like, a little fast, jumpy thing that just, like, pecks at you, and you fight like 100 of them at once. And it's gonna look ugly and stupid. Does he have a gun for me? I need a second one. He's got a suppressor. I love those, don't I?
Nicely
Well,
done,
that was
Chief.
unsatisfying.
2 more to go.
Your actions trend to honor and foolishness.
What a compelling
Cortana,
villain.
Are you hearing me?
No.
Had you considered that our actions tread between honor and foolishness? That's cool, I'll keep that in mind. What's the, Bantu Carlsbad top tweet? Something like, that's so interesting, I'll keep this in mind. That's my reaction to hearing that. What a funny account. That one tweet of his, I can't restore the political science, tied for best tweet of all time with OmoCat saying that she wishes she was a Drifloon. God, these things just keep going. Yeah, aren't I having fun just, like, poking at these stupid rat things? That's what Halo needs, just like a weightless little, like, poking rat. And what's all this unfun shit? I get to pick any Promethean Knight weapon I want. Thanks, 343. Yeah, that guy wasn't holding still for me. We got 2 more shots, though. What the hell do you call that? What did I go, like, between his arms? There we go. Okay, what unfun piece of shit do we pick up? This'll do. It's a shotgun. You get a whole 10 extra rounds for it. That's great. Wow, it can be fired rapidly in a way that feels terrible. How do I put it? The tactile feedback of this thing is just atrocious. This game pisses me off so much, it just never ends. What's that? Something I already have, apparently? Oh, this thing makes no impression on me. It is the most, like, weightless Overwatch, nothing excuse for a weapon in this whole game. Okay, that's 2 of the 3 things. Now where are we going? Isn't this fun, just walking across, like, grey gaming PC corridors, just shooting the little bouncy rats? This is what video games are about. What was that? Oh, it's a sphere. This thing sucks. I feel like I'm not doing anything. I don't like it. Okay, what do I shoot now? You? Oh, this is unfun. I get that they're meant to have, like, a human skull face in there, but I can just never see it because of how they're, like, fast and twitchy and covered in, like, obscuring nonsense, incidental detail, and particle effects. How the fuck is anyone supposed to appreciate anything when you've got, like, that shit going off in your face constantly? Okay, that's awesome though. I wanted to see if it'd do that when it was reflecting off the wall. Like, at the very least it'd obscure my vision to make the point, but yes, you can actually kill yourself with the ricochet from this. That is really funny. That's the kind of physical detail we enjoy in our video games. When it bounces its shots, it actually does so. Real projectiles, people. Alright, what was I going down there? And I'm out of thingos. Let's use this other anti-fun weapon. Did you see the way that thing reacted when I shot it from behind? How lame that looked. And these things just look fucking gay when they face you head on and shoot at you like I'm fighting some stupid flower. Not in a cool way. This is like how Klaus Schwab would design a robot that fights people. Very lame. Just come the fuck on, this is so boring. Like, genuinely, I hate being in this giant gaming PC warehouse. There is just, like, nothing interesting happening in here. Fucking die, will you? I don't care. Fuck me. Fine, I'll acknowledge your knights.
You are a fool. Even now, your kind tinkers with the composer in the shadow of the third ring. Children in fire who disregard the welfare of the galaxy.
Alright, you hear this? We deserve it. He knows what's going on. The idea, of course, is that we are kind of correct and he is not, but, you know, like, he's never going to be morally challenged in any serious way, and he's not being considered by the people writing him. It's just considered, like, an appropriate thing to do, that when you're writing stuff under the Obama Reich, the Obama cult of terror, whatever you call it, that you just have to have, like, an older, authoritative person just talk down to and just fucking berate the protagonist constantly. And the player, it's just like, yeah, you're playing video games, you just need someone, like, telling you off for bullshit reasons, or else we're not really gaming. We're not storytelling. Note that CE has none of that. There is 343 Guilty Spark, who is a very ridiculous character who doesn't get a chance to, like, soapbox with impunity at you. He's always, like, an angry, humiliated light bulb when he tries to confront you. Instead, you are, like, the one owning him. Whereas, like, it's very, like, every Lambrusca guy, like, Obamunist writer, always has to give their villain, like, basically unchallenged authority to just, like, they get a soapbox to just completely fucking talk down to you and go unchallenged. And it's expected they'll go unchallenged, and if you do challenge them, you'll be treated like an uppity child even today. Which is what's sociologically interesting about Spec Ops: The Line, that the same class of person who will tell you that, like, Dr. Fauci is a saint is going to tell you that, like, Spec Ops: The Line is actually a very profound and serious thing, which was trying to teach bad shit, baby. You spoiled bad a lesson, but you didn't appreciate it. It's a certain kind of person who is just, like, blindly deferential to specifically corrupt authority. They just learned that the tone of, like, someone with nothing backing what they're saying, just, like, abusing you is what authority and goodness sounds like. People really do just get fucking programmed like that. That is the class of person who, like, genuinely will defend this writing, and you can't say I'm being, like, paranoid or projecting my own hang-ups or whatever, because, again, every now and then it comes up against the whole media literacy discourse bullshit. If Spec Ops: The Line comes up, the same class of, like, teacher defending, like, weird, like, boring, lame, authoritarian type, they will just jump down your goddamn throat over this without fail. And they won't make any sense because it's always, again, just backed by nothing, but that's a class of person who just, like, learn to be a slave, or they are one and they just like it when someone just abuses them, basically. You are being abused if someone talks to you like this. Sorry, this is a very big thing of mine. I go into this issue a lot. Anyway, we picked up something called an incinerator. Okay, I should fire it at a wall or something at least. Yeah, that sucked. And look, it regenerated the whole loadout again. Isn't that lame? Yeah, I should take this so I can just actually beat the level.
Do you truly believe these theatrics?
See, here he goes again.
Departure. Embrace your sad fate and retain your nobility. I am already beyond you.
This guy at least has a bit of an ego. That's something.
If we try to get too close to that ship, we're dead. I have an idea. Head for that waypoint.
This just feels like such a nothing concept for a level, this Pelican. Like, I said I wish the whole game was the Mammoth, because the Mammoth had, like, dynamic stuff going on.
Those defense spires we keep running into are being controlled from this tower.
Oh my god.
Get me to the control room, and we might be able to reposition them to block the Didact ship from leaving.
Oh, we have to go into another gaming PC, fine. But, like, the level revolving around the Mammoth, as far as it did, was only interesting because of the idea of this, like, big, consistent home base we'd be working from that came with its own unique boons and challenges and just created a new dynamic in every fight. That was a cool idea. The Pelican is just like, you know, basically like a loading screen between these gaming PCs of no real consequence. From its driver's seat, I basically just float around like a free entity camera, and I use 2 identical infinite ammo weapons to blow up 5, like, lazy fat flies just floating on the horizon, not doing anything to me.
You will relent, human, or you will perish. All in life is choice. And your day to choose has come.
This guy is almost written with an ego, but not far enough for me to get an impression of him as a real character. If they did do that, I would like it, or at least it would be something I could potentially like, but, you know, is the Didact a fully fledged character in anybody's mind? I doubt it. Maybe the poor bastard who had to write novels of this, which I doubt I have the energy to read, because they're a dead continuity now, because 343 are retarded. Like reading a novelization of the, Star Wars sequels. Wasn't it Chuck Wendig who had to do those? That's funny. Yeah, it's kind of like reading a Star Wars sequel continuity novel now at this point. Maybe they tried a bit harder, but, you know, as hard as they may have tried, that's where they ended up. Why don't these guys just die? There we go. Oh, thank god, weapons that are stored here that aren't goddamn Promethean Knight ones. But yes, anyway, as I was saying, the guy has, like, no personality as a villain. There's, like, nothing going on. What is the pathos of the... What's this guy called? The Didact? Like, can you tell me what the Didact has going on? Does he interest you? Has anybody ever been interested in the Didact? Is it possible to be interested if you look, like, closer at anything he's doing? Will you find anything? I highly doubt it. I am personally not really... I'll take seriously anything that comes up in the game, but I don't think I'm going to look closer than that. Oh, that's what happened. Those explode. Does this thing do anything? Really, can someone in the comments who has played Halo 4 explain to me what my, like, red circle grenades are meant to be doing? Nothing feels good or right in this game. That explosion just sucked. There was like an almost like formal theatrical element to this guy's explosion, but I get the impression it was probably vestigial rather than deliberate. Like a holdover of the fact this is still probably largely built on the old Bungie engine, which is good and did things like that as a matter of course. because they wanted it that way, because they understood it was a good way to build these fights. Okay, I stuck a grenade then. It does still happen, but not much apparently. What a stupid looking character. Just... They changed these guys out of spite. It's the best explanation. Alright, who else wants some? Him? Yeah, instead of like Joseph Staten doing the funny cartoon voice, they just go like... Grah! They just make like a retarded little goblin noise now. Also, I just can't explode that thing with this, apparently. I don't know, maybe that's deliberate, but felt very lame. And I don't know what killed me, maybe it was a needler overcharge. Okay, you guys get this now.
I'm seeing a control facility at the top
This
of the
what you
tower.
wanted?
We need to be there yesterday.
What a lame explosion. We need to be there yesterday. Yeah, sorry about talking for like 2 hours in that hangar. Actually, I'm not sorry. It's the only way to get any interest out of this experience. Yeah, I really don't like the way they just like accelerated the hunter's animation. It looks like crap. And the way they made their shield this like weird sleek thing. I don't know. I just don't like how they look in this game. I get that they tried to make them kind of imposing because everyone figured them out in CE. And that's fine. I think that, again, it's something Halo Infinite did better, where they like were forced to stop being obstinate and try to please fans, but they could still try to be different if it was a good idea, or they thought it might be. And making hunters like scary boss fights again was something they tried to do in Infinite. Not in like a retarded, unpleasant 3-4-3 way, but like an actually, okay, the hunters got old, everyone solved them, how do we make them the scary guys they're supposed to be again? And yeah, I thought that fighting hunters on Legendary and Infinite was actually interesting. Like, at least an attempt. I admired the attempt at the very least. I can't go back and look again, of course, because they blacklisted my graphics card, but yeah, I remember not hating it, and like, yeah, you can change things in a good way. Like, you could have thinking to yourself, like, okay, the hunters have just like been solved by the fans, so they're not an interesting element of the game anymore. That's a legitimate thought. But yeah, what they've done in this particular game with them is aesthetically ugly. Again, it's something they were probably forced to undo in Infinite. Aesthetically, I think they're ugly in this one, and the way they just like, they're basically the same but with more HP and they move a bit faster. Not particularly interesting either. I remember in Halo 2 a neat trick you could do was dive out of your Banshee on top of another one and hijack it out of the air. Ooh, do I try that here? I kind of want to. Nope, not happening. Yeah, I remember I used to be good at it at one point. The idea was you jump out and like immediately hit the thing to steal that one. Quite doable. But yeah, maybe it's harder in this one, or well, I guess I just did it quite badly then, didn't I? Oh well, let's do it again. I mean, not do the hijack again. You'll have to take my word for it that it's doable in the Halo engine. At least in the old games. Oh yes, and I don't like the fixed split wing design, but someone told me in the comments, it's probably true, that this is something they got from Reach. Reach aesthetically did a lot of stuff I wasn't crazy about, like, in the process of kind of rationalizing and de-gamifying the army designs, they had to, I think, kind of redesign the Covenant as a counterpart that would not look jarring alongside that. And the thing about the Covenant is that they're just like formal from a baseline without even like an objective reality they have to correspond to. And so making this like old, very like primary video game, simple form design harmonize with a like now rationalized and realistic military thing is kind of difficult, and the results are kind of less than stellar at times. Okay, this looks a bit different to the rest of the gaming PC world, like different metals and stuff and the sun shines on it. If we had to be in gaming PCs, if they could at least, like, expose the metals to sunlight and stuff to create different looks. Like, basically, if the whole level was outside, like, framed by this central detail and the light was playing off of things and creating unique effects, that could have been marginally interesting. Instead, we spent the whole level in fucking warehouses. Couldn't tell you why. Someone just thought it had to be that way.
Tapping into this fire's central net.
Tapping into the central net. Super.
Now to imprison the prisoner.
What are you doing?
Messages, Prometheus? Like thunder mostly imprisoned me.
How compelling.
Chief,
His ship's online. They're leaving.
I'm sorry. I don't know what...
The idea of, like, Cortana fighting with
Track those
Halsey
liches.
could be
We can go
interesting,
across
but
them to
these
get to the
people are not
Night ship.
smart enough to write that.
Wait, across them?
What the fuck is a lich?
Yes.
Those?
There are several liches moving in formation towards the Didac ship. We're only going to have one shot at this.
Alright, what am I doing?
Okay? Go!
Yeah. The Cortana thing, do I need to say anything? Like, do you get what I mean when I say just they're too dumb to write, like, this breakdown plot compellingly? Anything could at least kind of work, I think, if the right kind of person was behind it, but this is just retarded. And did I beat the level? Hopefully, I'm kind of tired of this for now. We're probably getting close to the end of the game.
Cortana, what's happening?
I don't
But
know.
again, the pacing is a clusterfuck, so I can't make sense of anything. Like, there's no real, like, flow, like we're working up to something.
They're jumping into slip space. Get below deck.
No time.
That jetpack effect looks like shit. And so do these lich things. They couldn't just be phantoms or something, no, they had to come up with a new one that's theirs, and it gets the center stage in its own little scene. Okay, is that the level? Probably. Composer. We'd be getting near the end then, I guess. Let's just watch a shit cutscene and I'll call it. So the achievement I just got through Steam says level 6. I think there were 8 levels, or like 9. 10 levels with 2 cutscenes, so I think that's 5 actual game levels we beat. Of 8. Composer and 2 more sounds correct. This looks like something out of the Star Wars prequels.
Cortana?
Still here.
Alright, where's this level going?
A halo?
Installation 3. It's where Infinity found the coordinates to Requiem.
Then why are they bypassing it?
Because the composer's not on the ring. What are you waiting for? That station's not gonna save itself.
Okay, fighting in a station. That's more interesting than anything we've had so far, I'm hoping.
Put me into the console.
Killing
This
them
is
and taking
UNSC
over this
Master
ship
Chief
might have been
debates.
fun,
Do
but I
you
get
read?
they can't give us everything.
I read you. This is Sandy Tilson of Ivanov Station. We're under attack.
They're after a Forerunner artifact you took from the Halo ring.
How do you know about that?
Doctor, I need you to protect that artifact until we arrive. Send whatever...
Do you know what that condescending bitch said to me after our first game of chess?
Cortana.
This is such a stupid fucking game.
Correct your approach.
Yes, well, he also said he works better alone.
I can see why you chose him, Catherine.
Platonic,
I'm your greatest achievement and you detest
pull up. Now!
The people who wrote that scene, any of the things Cortana said, can you imagine any of them thinking any of it means anything?
Sorry.
Does this game have a point, or are we just like blindly, robotically repeating just
Dr.
like
Tilson, are you there?
Obama cliches one after another?
Doctor, listen to me. You have to issue the order to evacuate the
We've
station.
been trying. The Covenant, they've already taken over the landing bays.
Send me your coordinates. I'll see what I can do about clearing an evac route on my way to you.
This might just end up looking just like the first level, but we'll see. It's another ruined UNSC thing. And their new aesthetic looks disappointingly close to the Forerunners, in a bad way. Not cool monolithic, but this space station looks still too much like a gaming PC for my liking. Alright, that's enough negativity for the minute. I'm sure we'll find lots more to be mad at next level, so let's just call it here, and I'll upload this one, and we can try to maybe take this one on tomorrow.